I'm Joel Edgerton. I play Dr. Harry Harris, who is brought in to participate in the rescue of the boys as a rescue diver, and unbeknownst to him, is also asked to bring his medical expertise to become part of the really specific mechanics of the rescue.
Okay, I'm James Thiradon Supapanpinyo. I play as a coach who take care of all of the boy when they stuck in the cave, and then when they're stuck in the cave, the coach teaches the boy how to meditate, so they can survive.
I'm Vigo Mortensen, and I play Rick Stanton, one of the two UK divers, the two guys, John Valanthan and Rick Stanton. My character, they came, they were called to come in the early stages to try to rescue, and then brought in their most trusted colleagues, one being Dr. Harris and Jason Mallinson and some of the others, to figure out how to, if there was any way to get to these kids, to find them first of all, whether they're alive or not. They expected them to be dead. And then after that, if they could find them, how could they get them out?
I was in Thailand at that time, like 4 years ago. I remember the news in like every channel in Thailand, they keep repeat the news, like keep updating, like what's happened, and then how it's going, like okay, SEAL can go to like the chamber 1, 2, 3, and then but still can't find the boy. After like 6 days ago, after 6 days that from the first day that they stuck in the cave, I think they're not gonna survive at that time. It's quite hard to survive without like food and water for like 6 days and even like 10 days. And how? But after that, like when the news they told that the driver found all of them and they all survived, I was like, oh my god. We have a hope that they survive. The first is they survive, but the second is how they're gonna get up. Right. Yeah, and I keep watching the news every day, and then I think like at that time, like all Thai people, when we see each other, we're gonna have a conversation about this situation. Yeah, every time.
I in the past had done like 2 scuba dives in my life on the holidays, and there I was being asked to sort of go and get my PADI license and start the process of being really incredibly well looked after by this team of stunt divers and ex-Navy divers and salvage operation divers and some of the real cave rescue divers, which meant that this idea of basic scuba diving was then fast tracked to zero visibility, diving through like really kind of tight pinch points and obstacle courses underwater and these incredibly elaborate, true to life with currents, and then extra equipment, and then add to that, diving with a human being so that we could, simulate the execution of the rescue. And then add to that, sometimes, because it's a movie, strapping certain camera equipment to yourself. Incredible honor as an actor to take on a new skill and to be invited to be embraced by professionals, to even get a glimpse of what they can do. It was challenging, but we were looked after, and I feel like, if anything, the whole process has given me an even greater respect for the guys that did this and that do it for real, those men and women out there that do cave rescue diving. It's like massive respect.
He's a great storyteller. I mean, I already knew that. We all knew that before making this movie. And I knew I had not met him. I knew he had a reputation as being also a nice guy, which is not always the case in our business. Generally, yes, but not always the case. And directing is a high pressure job, especially a big story like this. And you can lose your temper very easily. You can get impatient. You're not getting enough rest. A million questions a day from all kinds of people. He was so calm, and having been an actor, he's a very good actor's director. So he was very good at explaining, adapting to each actor what they needed, whether it was you, me, anybody else. And also the way he spoke with his crew. I mean, there was not a set with all the pressure we had. There was no shouting. There was no complaining. Everybody just got on with it. Part of it was because we had to live up to the example that the real rescuers had set. And you're not going to complain, oh, my coffee's not warm enough or something like that. You know, you're not going to complain about little things like that. And the other was Ron, the example he set about this can-do attitude. I will listen to everybody's opinion. I will make the final decisions, but this is a collaborative exercise. So I loved that. And I liked learning what Joel's talking about, this new skill. You know, I had been certified years ago and just done it once, 25 years ago. So I had to get recertified and also step it up. We had to go into these caves and, visibility problems and transporting real human beings eventually. It just felt like a lot of pressure. So I think, I tend to be focused and detail oriented as an actor preparing and shooting anyway, because I'm always conscious of the fact that you got one crack at it to tell this story or shoot this scene today. But in this case, it wasn't just, I want to get it right and I don't want to make a fool of myself. I want to contribute to the overall filmmaking effort. I also want to survive, literally. So I'm paying a lot of attention to Rick Stanton and the other, the safety divers, the people, the experts. It's like, how do we put the equipment on, make sure it's working properly before going under? And when you're under there, do exactly what they told you to do. Copy exactly what they're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to get out of there. It was a very demanded a lot of focus, this job. And I found that not just the physical thing of diving and all that, but the mental kind of energy that you spent just trying to get it right and paying close attention at all times. I'd get back to the hotel, and it was like the first few days of the shoot, I was going swimming in the ocean and stuff. And then, a week in, I was like, okay, I just want something to eat and I'm going to go to sleep. I was so tired, just, from the effort. But it was satisfying. Each thing, each milestone, each new section of cave that we learned to swim through, each task that we accomplished, there was a real more satisfaction than usual in filmmaking. It was just on another level.
I play John Valanthan, who was one of the divers that was incredibly instrumental in swimming the children to safety in 2018. And it was a great honor to play John, and something I was a little bit nervous about, of course, because he's still with us very much. But he was an incredible resource for me as well. John, he was incredibly generous with his time and energy. And, I spent hours FaceTiming with him, and he was open to all my questions and shared with me his firsthand account, of course, of what went on in 2018 during the cave rescue, and also his life in general, So it was an incredible thing to be part of this story, and the story that was really about the coming together of all these cultures, particularly starting with the Thai people and the beauty and the richness and the faith and the strength of the Thai people as such a spirited people, and then how everyone else descended upon Thailand for that period of time to rescue these boys. It was just a really gorgeous, heartening story to be close to be a part of. It was a dream to work with Ron, and I as a fan of film, and I've loved Ron's work since I was a kid, going back to Splash and Cocoon, which I just showed my 12-year-old last week. They're so full of heart, whether they're pieces of fiction, dramatizations of memories, like Parenthood. I think Parenthood is just one of the great American films. And so to do this, and to do a story that was as beautiful as this, and was about so much of the best of human beings, so much of how we're capable of really living the most beautiful lives that we can live if we were just taking a moment to be considerate and respect our differences while also kind of appraising and acknowledging and stepping into the things that make us the same. In this case, our care for children, you know, the future of our civilization, the future of our world, whether they're Thai children or British children or Irish children or American. And I think that was the thing that brought the world together as well, was that it was so clear. It was so clear that the 13 people that were trapped in the cave were innocents. It was so clear that they were all innocent, that the only thing they were victims of was a bad decision and an early monsoon season arriving. So to work with Ron on this, I mean, look, he's a documentarian as well, you know, so for him to come on board and tell this story, which was always going to have kind of a narrative construct, of course, but he wanted to make it as cinema verite as he could and get in there. And he was always on the set, moving around, looking for the angles and looking for how to get to the center of the story he was telling. And he's just extraordinarily decent as well, and fair, and is interested in everyone and wanted to make sure that everyone was respected and everyone had their moment. He doesn't believe in the star system or status or any of that shit. The set was an incredibly egalitarian environment, and that was gorgeous. I'm a big fan of that stuff, so that was cool to be around. Yeah, Ron is amazing. He's exactly what you'd expect, you know. He means everything he says.
I played Chris Jewell, who was one of the divers that once Rick and John had found the boys in the cave, they realized that if they were going to get these boys out, they were going to need some more experienced cave divers, and that's when they called in Chris Jewell, Dr. Harries, and Jason. So we're the support team that came in.
I play Governor Narongsak of the province where this cave rescue took place, which is Chiang Rai, way up north of Thailand. I love playing this. I love playing him. Found out a little bit about him, where he's a very smart, intelligent, highly educated. I think somewhere along the line, someone told me he studied astrology also. I mean, this guy's, you know, into all the books and everything. But then to see him just be I don't want to say punching bag, but maybe he had to take it from all sides, and he took a beating, and I think he came out smiling. When it first happened, in the morning, after I entered my restaurant, I said, these are some mad. Why would they even enter a cave knowing that it was raining? But apparently they didn't know that. They went in prior to the rain. And so you follow the news every day and you pray they would come out. And after 4 or 5 days, 6 days, they don't come out. Now you start to worry. I have children, as I say, 4. And I know my kids are capable of doing something silly like this. So if one of my children were in there and I was put in such a, I would be in a situation where I couldn't help my own child. I'm wondering, and I have the ability to buy equipment, to bring friends who have equipment, where these people up in Chiang Rai don't have any of those resources. So how are they going to get their children out? So it starts to get scary now. They're going to bring out dead kids. And then we hear that the whole world, there's teams coming from Japan, from all over the world. And then suddenly these 2 crazy British guys go in and find the boys, and we're happy for a second, and then the news just goes quiet again. So we were wondering what's happening. We don't know. You know, these things we didn't find out until this movie came out. But then Sunday we knew that they were saved, they were alive and well, and we were happy. And that was it. That was during that time. Yeah.
The way I prepared for this role was same as I always do. I just devour as much as I can about the character I'm going to play and the world in which they live. And we were so lucky with this because we had the real people who were so generous with their time. I got to talk to Chris for hours and hours. Anytime I had any questions about, what did you do this morning? How did you feel in this moment? When you lost that line, how did you feel? What was going through your mind? He would just tell me and all I had to do was then bring that to the screen. and the access to which the materials we had, the documentaries that Ron would send us, the National Geographic ones. I watched Chris's YouTube channel, which is amazing. Everyone should check it out, because he's just recorded all of his dives. So you get you can hear everything, you get a real first-hand experience of what diving would be like. But then on top of that, the training that we did, it was pretty intense. It was fast because, you know, we had to shoot the movie and we didn't have time to cram in 40 years of experience that these guys have. We had an amazing team around us. They threw us right in at the deep end. Forgive that pun. And we just went with it, man. I think it was one of those things where we were aware of the size and scope and beauty of this story, and effectively just submitting to it and just trusting in the fact that we had Ron at the helm, amazing people in every single department, and just saying, great, I get to be part of this.
I think having heard all the you guys today, you all start off with saying, what a beautiful film. So the first thing I'd like is when people watch it, accept it as entertainment first. So before you go and say, did this really happen? Why did this happen? This is not possible at all. Just be entertained. Then go do your homework and find out what happened and compare it to the movie. So I want them to take away from this at the end of the day that I believe the movie showed the trueness of Thailand, the beauty in the spirituality, the scenery, which in this case is a little wet, but it is a beautiful place, trust me. Without the monsoons and everything, we have a beautiful country that you all should visit. I want you to receive from Ron Howard a beautiful story.
I felt like it was a very contemporary story. It was inspiring, and yet, of course, you know, we all know it happened. It's in our recent memory. Yet a lot of details were, you know, just would enhance the drama. There were so many examples of really courageous acts of heroism that didn't make the headlines. And I felt that it, on top of everything else, it was offering a great acting opportunity. And there's nothing like giving great actors this kind of drama to work with that, you know, that I think gives, you know, allows audiences to really feel what it might have been like to be around this event, to live through it, to be a part of it.
Well, I mean, obviously, like I was in Thailand at that time, and, you know, it was a huge news because, you know, like every channel, every radio, it was inescapable. And there was a real sense of, actually, it was an interesting time because actually there was a weird sense of hopefulness, strangely. And you might think in other countries, you know, they'd be despairing. But somehow a lot of Thai people had this real innate belief that, you know, somehow they could be rescued. And I think that in many ways it shows in our film because, you know, this kind of like, you know, not necessarily like, you know, like, you know, it's not relentless optimism, but basically that there's a chance that things can actually go well. And I think that that is so endemic within the culture and society that maybe that actually did help to make the result what it is, because people really believe that there is a chance that these kids could come out.
Yeah. This kind of story, I think, is really enhanced by authenticity and detail. And so many of these situations are just, you know, the reality of it is even stranger, more stressful, more specific and odd, and sort of surprising than anyone who was there trying to be creative and sort of fictionalizing it could ever come up with. So they were there for that purpose, but also for safety, because cave diving is a very particular thing. And even though these are sets, our actors needed to learn how to dive in caves. And I thought they would maybe do half of their diving, but they became so expert at it, they wound up doing 100% of it, which gave me so much latitude to be able to develop shots and let them move into close-ups and be very fluid. It helped build the sort of tension and suspense. And you recognize that, you know, these people are really in there. That only enhances the authenticity and along with it, the tension, the excitement, and the suspense.
Obviously, it's a point of a huge amount of national pride, but at the same time, there is a palpable sense of loss, obviously, with Saman Gunan passing and another Navy SEAL later on who also passed away. So there's this mix of this legacy that people are, they look back fondly, but at the same time, it's not also something that, people shout off, shout out from the rooftops and go, yeah, this thing happened. So I think that, like any country, going through a trauma, there is, a mixed sense of different ways to look at, what happened. But one thing that I think people in Thailand really do take out of this is that, wow, we managed to have everybody from around the world come into our country and perform this miracle. And in many ways, that is the biggest lesson of them all, which is that, we could all come together and do something amazing. And I think that when reminded, I think that's what Thai people are very proud about, proud of, this sense of being able to accomplish something amazing.
I think everybody involved in this rescue should feel that pride, whether they were, the divers at the epicenter of it, taking those physical, emotional risks, or whether it was the support team, or the parents themselves who were, almost like people relegated to the waiting room of the hospital while their children were, in surgery for 18 days. But the one thing they could do is focus their spirituality in a way that many people, in and around this event said was palpable. And but above all, the Thai government, the culture, and all these volunteers who came together, they proved something. They proved something to us, and that is that if you do hang on to hope and act upon that hope, there is always a chance of something miraculous occurring. There is always a chance of that long shot coming into and becoming a reality. And but if you don't try, if you don't engage, the world will be less for that.
Well, I mean, one of the things that Ron and I discussed was really to try to get the interpersonal dynamics correct in Thai culture as well. And sometimes, one of the things I love is that Ron is very open-minded. So when I suggested, well, we need the governor to have an assistant because he can't say certain direct things to the Navy SEALs, for example. So he needs somebody in between. So that's why the actress Natvara came in to basically portray the assistant. And it's just tiny little details of cultural significance like this. And I was so happy that Ron was very open to it. And he was like, yes, that makes sense, And I think that it's how we go about it, which is that, we want to make sure that even small little things like who are allowed to talk to each other is portrayed in a way that the Thais will say, oh yeah, definitely, that's the way it should be. And it's just these tiny little details which I think makes the film truly, authentic and, like what Ron had said since the beginning, which is that, I want to make the film feel almost like a Thai film, that Thai people would feel like this can be theirs. And it's just these tiny details that make it like that.
I love collaboration. I love to collaborate. I enjoy it with the actors. I enjoy it with key crew members. And I was so looking forward to the collaboration with Thai talent in this case. And they did not let me down. I enjoyed it. They enriched the movie. I felt like that it's a story set in Thailand, but it's also a Thai story. And it's our cinematographer Sayampu Mukti Pram. I asked him for his ongoing support beyond his work behind the camera, and he was a great influence on the film, and was always very, very supportive. We had somebody on the production side, Lek, who production design side, very, very important contributor, and many others, because I just wanted as many voices as possible to just be looking at the movie, the way these scenes were unfolding, and and if they saw something wrong, help me figure out how to correct it. Mm-hmm. I hope that the audience goes into the film, whatever they know about the story, and gets lost in the human side of it. I hope that they recognize that this story unfolded in different ways for different for different people. And I hope they lose themselves in that, and through that actually create a kind of another level of engagement, gain a real sense of emotional suspense, and that they're not only sort of engaged by the heart and the mind, but that the nervous system gets involved as well, and that they really get caught up in the story in that way, because it's I think it's a kind of movie that transports you not only in terms of the environment but also emotionally.
And for me, like I'd said since the beginning when I started, working on the film as a consultant, was what Ron said to me, which is that, we're going through a crazy time. We were going through the pandemic and, of course, a lot of social political situations that are going around the world. And we have a real life story that is incredibly positive about how we can break down barriers between people, regardless of nations and our differences, to make something truly miraculous happen. And when people watch it, I really hope that people can see these possibilities as examples that we can lead ourselves, so that we can really appreciate the people's volunteerism in the film, and maybe somehow incorporate it into our own existence, and to really use this as a way to say, hey, look, see, there is a way for us to come together and not just be divided all the time, and look at the results that happen. So I think this is something that Ron taught me, so I'm just saying it back right now.
I'm Patragon. I was a cast role of Bohom, stateless single mom, and Bohom, she represents a hope of a mother who always has faith to meet her son again, and she can do everything, to see her son again.
I play Saman. He's a former Thai Navy SEAL. He's a very nice guy, and and helpful person. Like me. Yes.
But in the news, it's very big news in Thailand. Everybody come to help. Thai people and people from around the world come to help each other. It's a very big news, and everybody follow the news. Follow every step, day by day, what happened, what next.
So in her opinion, the reason why Ron needs to include a lot of Thai actors and actresses into the movie is because Ron wants to get the input from the Thai people who were actually in the situation when the incident happened, so that he can adjust his storyline to make it as accurate and authentic as possible. And that actually happened during the preparation when they were under the self-quarantine. They have to do the Zoom meeting with Ron and team almost every day to discuss details about the movies. Allow me to translate for Weir.
Please.
He said the impact on the people after this incident is that first, it inspired people to think more about others, help one another out, and it gives the reflection to us that the world is actually a lot happier place to be with, regardless of like the rest of the situation that happened to our life. So for him, it's more about the inspiring story to people not only in Thailand but all around the world.
Yes.
What was it like working with Ron Howard?
Wow. He's a very nice guy for sure.
It's our great honor.
We super
to work
lucky,
with
you
him.
know.
Yeah.
We super lucky to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us a confidence, right?
And he listened to us.
Yeah.
And he asked every details, and he paid attention to every details, and he opened to us to share opinions to him. Yeah. It's our pleasure to work with him.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like after you watch this movie, there's hope in this world. If we come to help each other, we can make anything that we want to. Yeah, that's it.
Hope is anywhere.
And everything is human made. Miracle is human made, not like a praying or something supernatural. Everything human. We do it by ourselves and create it by ourselves, and we can make everything. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Click and watch our suggested video playlist right now for more entertaining videos. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released.